if you have nothing to worry about, if you got no corruption in your brains, you can you can be you can be facing the Tribune with no problem. But if you're a bad boy or a bad girl, you better careful because the Tribune is going to come after you.
Oh my gosh.
Today is, like always, my new co-host. I don't know if he's new anymore, but Clark Philly. And it's Friday, so the managing editor of the Las Vegas Tribune newspaper, Maramis Chofani, is here with us also. You know, someday I'm going to be rich enough that I can only work one day a week, but...
Oh, my gosh.
Welcome, both of you. Welcome, you both. You know...
Welcome, everyone.
I tell you, I'm very confused.
Uh-oh.
Very, very confused. Maybe you guys can get me...
About what,
out of
Rolando?
This confusion. There are still people that... are wondering if what happened in San Bernardino, it is a terrorist attack or not.
Well, add up the individual items that we know, and it certainly looks like terrorist.
It is. It looks like, and but the president don't think it's...
Well, I did hear...
Isn't there some softening on that position? Isn't there some new language coming out that's kind of like almost admitting that it was terrorism?
Well, I heard one news commentator, I don't know which one it was, that did use the word that it was terrorist activity. Well, if you've already got a house full of things that can be used for terrorist acts, how does that not make it a terrorist act?
Oh, no, but I tell you one thing, I agree with Donald Trump. You need to exterminate the whole family. Everybody. Yeah. Finish it.
Well,
because I believe, first of all, now that little 6 months old little girl is at the war of the state of California. California is broke, so now it's another mouse to feed. You know, what is the benefit to keep that little girl alive? You know, it's
Rolando,
not... the mother,
what's
the
the
brother,
chances of her growing up, and when she gets to be
she become
17,
a terrorist.
18, she blames the federal
Rolando,
government
I
for
just
killing her
want to
parents.
mention one thing. We have written about judges that put people away for a longer than normal sentence because they're afraid when they come out they're going to commit it. Now are we going to get rid of children because they might grow up to be terrorists?
Only
Is
when
that
they
what
have
I'm
they're
hearing?
not American
Genes.
they're not American children.
Right.
They don't belong in this country.
Then what are we going to do with them?
Send it back to
They're
the
born
country.
from terrorists. They need to get out. They need
That's
to be
it.
done
Simple
with.
as that.
Well,
I mean, I think it's an insult to the people who die that day or die in the 9/11 or die in Colorado or die everywhere else. You know, every
they
single
are. They're
day
dying all over.
Every single day is a mass murder in
and
this
there's
country.
no way anybody can stop this. You can't. When anybody gets out, we've got to put an end to this. We can't let this happen again, and it always does.
And then
Because they don't do anything.
I tell you, I don't own a gun. And if I do own a gun, I will not tell you one way or the other.
Thank you.
But I tell you one thing, the president is insisting. And then you got, what's her name, that pre-prisoner, what's her name?
I don't know who you mean.
Pre-prisoner,
Yeah.
HC,
Yeah, HC.
HC.
Oh, that pre-prisoner.
Okay.
Pre-prisoner.
She was there yesterday, jumping up
my
and down.
God.
Oh, you saw
Guns.
it?
Well, I'm just assuming.
What
Yeah.
was she jumping up and down?
Because we need to take the
need to
guns
take the
away
guns
from
away.
the good people. Leave only the bad people with the guns.
Yep.
You know,
Well,
if somebody
that
would
certainly
have,
makes a lot of sense.
if somebody would have a gun in that church or that room in there Tuesday, I guarantee you that those two people will not be killing 14 people.
If indeed they had been trained properly. I know that they brought up that last incident where some Good Samaritan type tried to intervene. I think it was in the episode of the two policemen that were killed at Cece's. But what he didn't know, over at Walmart, I guess it happened, I guess what he didn't know was that the female was with him. He was
Right.
looking at the male.
Right.
So my take on that is if there's at least some kind of general how to be a good Samaritan, if there ever was such a thing with a gun, how to be a good Samaritan with a gun, the kind of awareness you need to have. Then you could say, well, they're on the lookout for any partners, because you don't want an innocent person who's trying to help to get killed. But yet,
Well, he did.
But if they really could help, they need to learn how to be aware, And I don't know if they have such training.
Well,
in
let's
this
put it
town.
this way. Let's say I have a gun. I'm not really that well trained in it because I've never gone to the firing range. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a gun with me, and here comes these people in to kill, let's say, 14 people. I take out my gun, and I start shooting. Oops, I hit the wrong guy. Oh, I hit an innocent
Well,
guy.
there
Oh.
you are.
Yeah, well, now I finally stopped these people from killing. It took me 4 shots. I killed 2 people
Well,
in the process.
see,
but now I got the bad guys. So maybe now only 8 people died. The 2 people
I
shot
understand,
accidentally,
but you
and 6
can't
people that they
deal
shot.
with that.
I've saved a bunch of people.
We can't.
because-
No, we
Yeah.
can't have that.
Well,
we can't
we
have
can.
you killing.
So it's better to kill 14 people.
When they walked in, you don't know what they're going to do.
What I'm saying is, from an incident like that happened that I just described, is going to create a lot less incidents from happening. Because when gunmen go into a room, they've already cased the room. That guy was already there. He knows nobody was there.
I
with a
believe
gun.
that the first thing we need to do is to admit
That we
those
need a lot of
peop-
help.
Eh?
That we need a lot of help.
Well,
We
either that or
know
go back
they
to the
need
old
to,
West days.
they
You
need
used
to
strap
come
your
out
gun.
and say yes, they were terrorists, domestic terrorists, outside terrorists, whatever kind of terrorists you wanted to be, is fine, but they're still terrorists. I believe that
Call a spade a spade.
I believe that the people in this country need to be told the truth. They need to be open and transparency with the voters, and not only the voters, the citizens of this country.
If I call you a terrorist, I have a reason that I think I'm calling you a terrorist. And I don't care if you agree with me or not agree with me. You can argue with me. I'm calling you a terrorist. You're a terrorist. I'm not a racist. I don't think I am. I don't discriminate.
Look,
I
let me
don't do
tell
that.
you
But if
something.
I say you're a racist, so what? Who
Let
did
me
I hurt?
let me tell you
what
something.
do I care?
Let me tell you. Be careful what you said on the air, because I'm not from this country, and if you're telling me that I'm a terrorist, I'm going to have the FBI in here again.
Oh, geez.
You know.
I think they're right parked outside down the street now anyways. But
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I call
Oy
someone a
vey.
racist, who do I hurt? Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Oh, but you
So
know
what?
words hurt people. You
So
know
And
that.
that's
their
another
problem.
thing.
That's not my problem. That's their problem.
No, but that's another thing that we need to be. Stop that
Stop
BS.
it, yes.
Stop that BS about
Feelings.
profiling and all that stuff. Maybe
do
if
it.
that neighbor would have called the police,
Exactly,
maybe,
exactly.
I'm not saying that that's going to be.
They didn't want to be called a racist.
Well, profiling.
people
Yeah,
die.
race
Yeah.
profile.
Profiling is a very important element of catching the bad guys, as it were.
common sense.
There's like, I don't know if it's CSI. There's some shows on TV. It all centers around profiling, because there simply are elements that identify who's doing what, and they don't go to everybody. So you have to narrow down the group of people you're looking for.
And that's another thing. The guy was in contact with a known
We're
terrorist.
finding that out now. Yep.
The
truth
if they would
comes
have
out.
kept an eye on that guy, and I understand you cannot keep an eye on everybody that come from another country because they don't have enough manpower to do that. I understand that. But you should, like they used to do with the mob in the old days. If you talk to Tony Spilotro 2 times, they already keep an eye on you.
Sure.
If you talk to Lucky Luciano, one day, look at that guy, Mario Marino,
But
He-
now, if you're a black and you talk to that guy twice, the FBI doesn't watch you because you're black.
Oh,
Oh,
not
really?
Well, that's profiling.
No, that's,
Wow, that's profiling. Yeah, it
so
is.
you talk to the same mob guy.
No.
You're a white guy, you get profiled.
Yeah.
If you're a black guy, you don't.
Look at Mario Marino. He almost lost his license for gaming because one time he was seen playing golf in the same golf course that Carlos Marcello in New Orleans.
Just in the same course. He just done that.
Isn't that profiling? I mean, I don't understand.
I-
My English is not that good, but I call them profiling.
I think you know, we're not going down the right track here. Profiling is a necessary thing to do. It's not like the suspect was black, now we have to stop every black man. But if they say the suspect was black, he had a red plaid shirt on and a fedora and, you know, chains around his neck.
That's
now,
profiling.
No,
that's profiling
it's
because
called,
that's the way they paint
it's
the
called,
black pimps. You know, with
I don't.
fedora.
Well, I know
and
you're trying
feather.
to be a little humorous right now, but you have to identify people. And if you give a description that's not a profile, it's an identification, but it's in the realm of profiling, not vaguely, but specifically.
Let
There's
me
a
tell
big
you,
difference.
Do you guys remember that TV show Barretta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh? Remember that Cuban guy that was playing the black guy, Vargas, whatever his name was, they're playing the role
Vaguely.
of a pimp, you know, skinny, tall guy.
Vaguely.
Yeah? They cannot do that show today because they will be profiling a black man. Why? That's the way the pimps used to
Well,
be in the old days.
First of all, you can't wipe out history. There are a lot of shows that were created in a time frame in our history. They simply reflected the society. It was the way it was. You
That's what
can't
we
wipe
need to go
that
back
out.
to. No,
That's what we need to go
to
back.
it.
Carol Connor with All in the Family.
He was a breakthrough. He was cutting edge.
We need to
in
go
his-
back to the old way
in
where we
his
can call a
time.
spade a spade.
That's right.
And that's what I say, and too bad. If it hurts you, I'm sorry.
Today
Too
you
bad.
cannot use the N word
No,
because
it's
it's bad.
politically
You
correct.
can, you know,
The
and
A
I tell you,
word? What's an A word?
The
the
N-word.
N word.
Oh, the N word. Okay.
But the N's can use it all day long. They
Yeah.
call each other that in normal
People
speech.
talk to themselves the way they find acceptable. But you don't want to be called certain words.
I don't care.
Well, maybe you don't care, but the average person cares. Words do hurt
That's
because
their
they
problem.
represent things. Words represent things. They
No, they
might
don't.
not to you, but they do
represent
in real
somebody
life.
To the person that's saying that. That's all.
we
No.
need
And
to
I don't
go
care
back
about
to
that.
the normal.
Exactly.
Sometimes we don't really know what normal means.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no
So
one
this
normal.
is normal now.
Well,
One
and-
normal.
It is normal now.
and
No,
what
it's
causes-
usual. It's usual.
What causes us to not know what things are is the whole thing we're talking about. Political correctness that distorts everything. All this goody two-shoe feel stuff distorts everything. We don't know what normal is anymore.
There's
We've lost it. We've
there's
lost it.
normal and there's usual and there's acceptable. There are different terms for different words. For example, if you use the word when you're talking about a person's spouse and you use the word wife where it should have been husband, that makes a difference. But there's an acceptable word that goes either way, and that's spouse or even partner, but spouse more correctly if you're married. And I know this because I was in the military, and let me tell you, every person in a big group that I was in, because I was sometimes the only female there, they always would say, let your wife do this or that. And I once stood up in a company of everybody that was there and told the general on the stage who used that term, I said, General, I want you to look at the people marching out of this room right now and tell me which one is my wife. I said, we can use the word spouse. I happen to have a husband, not a wife. And you know what he said to me? He said, thank you. I needed to be told. And that's the way it is with words. When there's an appropriate word, we use the appropriate word. If it doesn't matter, that's another story. But when it matters, we have to be appropriate.
It never matters.
I don't have a wife.
I know. I see sometimes those TV shows, those court, like I don't know. Court shows.
Yeah.
You know, and they say, well, my boyfriend, you know, why, to me, in my mind, wife is a female. And they refer, if it's a gay confrontation, they're referring to, well, your wife, is your wife or your husband? Well, how do you know what is a wife and a husband in a homosexual relationship?
Well, I suppose partner would be the correct word there. Wouldn't
that
you
would
agree?
Be the correct word. That's right.
Because then you can't go wrong.
Yeah, or if they marry, because now in this world, people can get married the same sex.
Okay, so you could say spouse or partner.
Spouse.
Yeah. But no sense trying to be fudgy with male or female, because it isn't. You don't always get it right.
No, and how do you know that? How do you know that he is the spouse, that he is the boyfriend?
I know, I hear you.
Or he's the female?
I hear you. Just as I said, when a word works like partner, there you go. You can't go wrong with that. They're standing right next to you or together. Yes, that's your partner.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. How do you call him, Clark? You call him wife or you call him...
I call him that person over there standing next to you, that a-hole. That's what I call him. I don't care what I say.
You would say that to a stranger in public,
I don't care
but that's
what I say.
unkind. And
No, I'm
someday
teaching them that words do not
they
matter.
do matter.
Sticks and stones can break
I'm
your
sorry,
bones,
I
not
totally disagree with you on that.
It's like, I don't think, now the new word that everybody uses is matter.
Is what?
Matter. Black lives
Oh,
matter.
oh, no,
why,
And then they get mad because you say all lives matter. No, only black lives matter.
What's her name? Pearlie wrote a column this week, and it makes sense. All police lives matter. All Jewish people matter. Why it has
Not to the
be the
blacks.
black?
Not to the blacks.
Well,
Blue lives, we're talking about police. Blue
I
lives
don't-
matter to
I
the
don't
blacks,
think
'cause
anybody-
They've been tortured by the police. Their whole lives, they've been tortured by the police. So blue lives don't matter to the blacks. Only black lives matter to the blacks. Because they've been tortured since they were brought over on the slave ships. They've been tortured.
I'm feeling exasperated.
No, we're talking the truth here. That's what's hard
No,
to handle.
no, that's-
We need to go back to where words do not hurt someone's feelings. We don't need these
Feelings do matter.
To who?
Because you're coming from a place where you obviously...
No, she was referring to the
I
case.
know what she was referring to. And
She was referring to that little boy, 8 years old, that was killed in the hospital.
yeah, I think it was anesthesia.
And the lawyer for the family is using that all life matter.
No, the Black Lives Matter, the lawyer's using.
Black
Yeah.
life matter. Why do you have to put?
Yeah, why do you
why do
divide?
you have to put racists into a court trial?
Maybe he was
Because of
hoping
feelings.
that the jurors would be more black.
I mean, and I tell you
not
one
genuine.
thing, and I tell you, I understand
Phony.
that the lawyer have to do what they have to do to defend, which
Sure.
is very rare in Las Vegas.
Sure.
That the lawyers do what they have to do to defend the client. That doesn't exist in the country of Clark County. But I'm saying, don't mix. The mistake was made, the error was made. The reality is that little 8 years old child died for
he had a
an
reaction.
error.
Yeah.
An error then.
And usually you can't know that unless you've had previous experience with like whether it's a medication or an anesthesia or something. If you've ever had a reaction before, sometimes you can't know how you're going to react to things, and that's what happened. So sure, the doctor probably would have taken a lawsuit in the hospital or whatever, and they would have settled. They didn't have to make it into this big project that had no connection to it at all, And you can never pay a family enough for the loss of their son. They obviously wanted to, just get public support on their side from the black community because, it was totally out of place. But it was a mistake issue, not a race issue. That was the main thing.
You know, it's very difficult to please everybody.
Well, we know that.
That's, when my mother died, she was seeing the same doctor for I don't know what, 3, 4, 5 years. He was treating her for arthritis. She died within, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days after she got a stroke. We took it to the hospital. We went to a different doctor because that doctor, for some reason, then I have never been able to find out why he was not authorized to work out of Sunrise
hospital.
Sunrise Hospital.
Okay.
And there was another doctor over there. They control her stroke. They balance her out, and the doctor said to my sister, "She's doing okay now. Tomorrow I'm gonna put her to walk." And my sister said she hasn't walked since July 4th.
And what time of the year was it now?
October. What do you mean she have arthritis? The doctor said, I never hear such a thing. You cannot walk because you have arthritis?
What a strange doctor
Yeah.
to say that. Wow.
So he said, let me do some checking. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And the next day the doctor came in and said, hey, you know, she got cancer all over the body. She got cancer in the liver, in the blood, and the bones, everywhere.
This was a different doctor than
Yeah,
the one that was treating
different
her.
doctor.
Right.
Okay? Well, we didn't want it to, so she died 4 days later.
Wow.
And the doctor, a lawyer friend of mine said, why don't you sue the doctor? And we didn't want it to profit with my mother's death. And another lawyer told my sister, well, it's not profiting from you, it's alerting somebody else what kind of doctor that doctor is, exposing him.
Right.
That's what you need to do, because that will stay in his record.
Exactly.
But nobody agreed with that lawyer, and nobody agreed with us after we sued it. So the lawsuit was denied.
So what happened to the doctor?
He's still working, and he only worked with senior citizens.
Well,
That
sure.
little office is full of old people in a crutch, and a wheelchair, and a cane.
You know why? Because when they die, they're out of his hair.
Yeah,
That's very, very
he's still
sad.
working.
Well, so do you feel bad that you didn't press on with that to expose him?
Well, I wrote about that 3 or 4 times. I did his name as much as I could. I think really, honestly, as much as I like money, I love money a lot, but I didn't want to profit, and my siblings was the same way. They didn't want to profit.
I know you had that element involved there about thinking of it as profiting from your mother's death. It really wouldn't have been.
No.
It really would have been bringing that doctor to a halt.
And then my sister was blaming herself because she should have taken him to another doctor
Second
and this and
opinions.
that. You know, I think my sister was very good daughter. She took care of my mother better than anybody else will, and I don't think she should blame herself for anything. Neither one of us should be. She was old already. She lived an extensive life. She never had to work. Well, she worked in Cuba. She was a teacher, but you know, a lot of people that come from Cuba in those days, I know, lawyers and I knew Supreme Court judges, then was working as a dishwasher and a gardener, and you know, they had to make a living somehow. But we make sure that she didn't have to do that.
Well, that was good, and I truly believe that both of you, or all three of you, did your best for your mother to the extent that you were aware what you could do. So the bottom line is, for anybody that's listening, if you're diagnosed with something, do get a second opinion. You know, don't hesitate.
Yeah, but because she wasn't diagnosed with cancer.
No, that's what I mean. You know, if you have any doubts at all, or even just for general principles, it never hurts to get a second opinion. You know, that would be good. So
I don't believe in doctors. I don't like to go to the hospital. I don't like to go.
So you're living your life the best you can, minus doctors.
Minus doctors.
Okay, I'm with you.
I mean, I'm not that narrow mind.
Right.
I go once in a while.
There are times we need.
I do my checkup and everything else, but I believe a lot of the vitamins and a lot of the natural.
It's the lifestyle, the total picture that keeps us away from doctors. Not just one thing, you know.
Don't you think the extended life expectancy we all can now expect has something to do with the medications that are beneficial for your maintenance?
Of course.
And I think doctors have a lot to do with that.
Let me tell you, I went to see my brother the other day. To see my brother the other day, and he got a night table full of pills. Different medicine for this and that and that. I told my sister, I said, why don't you stop those pills for a while and see what happened? Well, she stopped the pill. She stopped not because I told her that. She stopped because he was having some kind of a procedure. Then he could not take the pill, and he felt better.
Yes, well,
he feels better. Those medicines poison you.
And I do.
I believe
absolutely, but I do need to say something, and you need to be very aware of this, Rolando. There are some medications that if you stop them abruptly,
yes, I understand.
You know, without knowing what you're doing, the person taking them could die.
I guess he doesn't have any of those medications because the doctor told him to stop until after.
Well, see, there was the doctor telling you to stop the medications, and hopefully he knew what your brother was on. But a lot of people that just, you know, they say, well, I'm going to try living without these things, and that very fact, stopping it abruptly, can make you die.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of things can. And then there's doctors that are paid off to prescribe certain pills
we know that.
by the pharmaceutical manufacturers.
And I told my sister, from now on, what you have to do is whenever the doctor tells you something, record it. Bring a recorder, turn it on when you are there, and because I guess she go in with him because she got knowledge of medicine.
Well,
I guess
it's always best to have a backup person.
You know, I told him, I said, you know, but I guess my sister is not the only person. A lot of people think because I talk with an accent, I think with an accent, and they think I'm wrong all the time. But
well, you know, even if you were thinking with an accent, that doesn't disqualify you from knowing what you're talking about.
You know, I don't trust anybody. I'm a very untrustful person.
I hear you.
And even like that, like I wrote in my column the other day, even like that, I get screwed all the time. I don't trust people. I don't, this guy over here, his attorney, told me that I am a control freak. Well, if I'm a control freak, how come I got people stealing from me? I got people smoking marijuana in my office. I got people doing illegal things, and I had to throw them out.
God, how does he know we had that joint earlier?
You know, you better watch out just in case
Santa Claus is in town.
That takes you literally at that moment.
Oh, okay.
You know.
All right.
Well, but there's no evidence. He already smoked the evidence.
It went up in smoke.
It went up in
The
smoke.
evidence. Yeah, went up in smoke.
Yeah.
Well-
Cheech and Chong.
You know, no matter how much you either like to control or do control, you really can't control somebody's bad intentions, and they find ways to do things.
Well-
you know, you could have 10 security guards at a store, but if somebody's determined to steal, they'll find a way.
Well, all I know is then I like to know everything that happened. You know, I always tell,
I know, you make it into a
you know,
strange little comment I won't repeat.
well, no, it is very simple. If somebody sneezes, I wanted to know. If somebody coughed, I wanted to know. I wanted to know everything that happened here when I'm not here because I don't like surprises. I always been that way since I was 25 years old. I always been that way. I had in those days, you can do anything you want. I got a reel-to-reel tape recorder, then I record all my phone calls.
That took up a lot of space, didn't it?
No, I had it in the credential, and the phone was there, and I used that. You pick up the phone, and the recorder was going on, put on by the telephone company. So it's not. And I tell people, remember that this conversation is being recorded. I wasn't doing anything illegal, you know.
But you're doing that for training purposes.
Yeah. Right. That's why they got such a lousy service.
They're not doing very good training. They need to do more. of
Whoever
it.
trained them is not doing a good job. No, I did it because my lack of English language. I wanted to make sure that
Training yourself then, for your training purpose.
right. And then I forgot what you said, or I didn't understand what you
It's always
said.
good. You can play it back.
You know,
And then a lot
Don
of
can
people
tell
forget.
Don can tell you.
That's why I love emails, because in my particular things I'm involved with, people deny that they ever told me something.
Well,
wait
there
a
you
minute.
are.
Here it is right here. And you send them a copy. That's your email, not mine.
Anything-
You don't. It comes up all the time.
Anything that can
Amazing.
be proven, you never have to argue about.
Exactly. That's why I
And
love
every time I see things like that with some kind of conspiracy or anything like that, I say, how these people can be that stupid? They all texting. They all emailing. You know, you
They're
put
fueling
stuff.
the fire.
You put stuff in the emails, you put stuff in those texts,
It's out
and then
there.
the police come and say, well, look at this. You said that. You're right.
I know.
They think the text is going to melt. It's going to disappear. You know, I hate those texts. You know, I got that problem with Gordon Martinez. Okay, he loves texting. I don't want to text.
Did you tell him right to his face?
I did. Million times.
Well, I guess the best you could do then is ignore it. People
He
ignore
don't answer the phone no more.
Oh, man.
He doesn't answer the phone anymore. You know, but when we see each other in person, and then he said, well, it's easy for you to remember if you got it on. You know, it's not that I'm going to talk anything that it cannot be publicized with him, because with Martinez, you know, you can never win. He's always right, you know, but I don't like texting. First of all, I got a bad spelling. So if I gonna spell,
I hear you.
you know, so I
But
don't.
spelling doesn't count in texting because you use all
Well,
these.
some-
Like
I know.
IOU is
But-
just you.
That's
You know,
one
they have
thing.
their own language.
That's one thing. I was talking to somebody, to Ken Small one day. I was talking because he's one of those.
Texters.
No, he's one of those.
Grammatically correct people.
He's involved with the school district
Yeah, right,
and
right.
everything else. Okay, and I told him, I said, the students nowadays, they don't know how to spell because the everything is short.
Yeah,
Short.
yeah.
You know, it's like the adding machine. You know, I remember when I was in high school, I still can add up, boom, like that. I'm good with numbers, but now these kids nowadays, you tell them how much is 2 and 2, and they have to get the calculator, and they don't even get the calculator, they get the cell phone.
They call a friend.
FYI.
How can you learn when you...
Well, as I always taught my children, first you learn the correct way, then you can take the shortcuts. But no shortcuts until you learn the correct way.
I don't know.
And who do that nowadays?
I can't tell you.
The kids don't have time because they're busy texting to learn the correct way.
Well, you can't.
So they don't have time to learn the correct way.
You can't text in full-length words and full-length sentences.
Right, so they don't have any reason to learn the correct way.
There's no room.
And I tell you, people are infatuated with those cell phones. I saw the other day a lady with 3 kids and one in the carriage, what do you
and the
call
baby
that?
in the stroller was
In the
texting.
carriage,
Yeah.
and the phone in there, crossing the street, in the middle of the street. That's another thing I wanted to talk to about.
Gosh.
115 people have died for crossing the street this year alone.
On the
And
cell phone, you mean? Or-
No, crossing the
crossing.
street in the middle of
The
the
guy
street.
just died on Sahara Avenue, I think, or something, got hit by
And in
2 cars.
addition,
Not just one, 2 cars hit him. What did he
You
see
know,
out there? What a
and
bad place to cross the street.
I think I'm gonna
Jeez.
write about that in the next
but
issue.
you know what
of
the worst
Tribune.
thing is? It isn't even the death that happens at the moment. If you're crossing the street incorrectly with your children, you are now teaching every child that you have with you that it's okay to take stupid
But
chances
look, let me
with your
tell
life.
you, if they want to be stupid and cross the street in the middle of the street, good for them. They die. They don't gonna do it no more.
but they're teaching their children.
But they destroy the driver's life because you're not gonna be the same person after you kill a person or 2 kids or whatever the human being is.
Right.
You don't feel the same way.
Everybody that's involved in that gets messed up, but especially if you're teaching
You
bad
dead.
habits.
That's
now
why-
you've just branched out.
That's why I don't.
exponentially.
That's why I don't believe in the death penalty, because once you die, you don't feel anything else anymore. If you commit a crime that deserve a death penalty, put them on a hard work prison where you have like the old-fashioned picking up.
Yeah, I know what you
What do
mean.
you call the rocks or
Rock gang or whatever.
rock gang or whatever?
The chain gang is what you're
Chain
thinking
gang,
of.
right.
Yeah.
But if you die, you're not gonna have to worry about it
Well,
anymore.
there's 2 good reasons to not kill people. One is, what if you have the wrong person? We all 3 know that there are innocent people in prison and, not only serving life sentences, but to be, killed. They're on death row.
Yeah, but
And-
also you have to realize that it's gonna cost us money when they find out. And then I know a guy over here in Clark in Nevada that was 18 years. 18
Yes.
years. And the death road,
On
and
death
they
row.
find out that he didn't commit the crime.
Right.
They gotta give him, I don't know, 2 million, 3 million.
Well, I don't know about how much, but they certainly should recompense him for something.
But who pays that?
You
What
know,
do they do
we
to the
do.
prosecutor
We
that
do.
hid evidence? that
Well,
knew he was
I don't
innocent?
know.
What
And
do you
now,
do
if
about
he,
that guy?
but if he found him guilty with due diligence, if he did everything he could to bring out the facts, many don't. That they
Yeah.
go
Look-
for the
notch
what's the
on
word
their
I'm
belt.
looking for?
Look at Christine Lobato.
Right,
That
right.
little girl has been in prison for what, 10 years, 12 years? I don't know
now.
how long.
And she wasn't even here.
She wasn't even here. And the judge refused to allow the jury to know
Yeah.
that she was not here.
Well, after all this time, they don't want to ever admit they were wrong. It comes
Of
back on
course.
them.
That's the problem. They don't want to.
They don't want to
Well,
admit
exactly.
that. Look at that architect from Florida. Then was here. The DNA proved that he didn't rape anybody. He didn't have sex with that woman at all, and they didn't want to put the DNA
Right.
in the trial. He's doing 18 years.
Well, we know that. There's a lot of this going on, and that's why I don't believe in the death penalty. And another thing is sometimes, this doesn't happen often, but occasionally somebody who is put into prison really feels that it was the best thing that happened to them because it stopped them in their tracks, gave them plenty of time to think, and they really do have a change of heart. You know, there are people that even, I heard of a story where a man who killed the son of a woman, and he went to prison. He finally got out of prison, and he became friends with the mother of the boy he killed. They became neighbors.
And they start dating.
No, I'm just saying it does happen. People realize, what in the world did I do?
Look, there's a Cuban guy in the state penitentiary. I think he's over here in this close one over here. I don't know what the name is. He's been there for 33 Indian Spring. He's been there for 33 years.
Yes.
He claimed he didn't commit the murder.
Okay.
But from the prison, he has raised money for the Heart Association, for the Cancer Association. He got the award from the governor and the director of the prison.
Well, he's probably a good guy at heart. I don't know if he's guilty or not.
I don't
know. One thing
I
do know.
Well.
One thing that's really awful that I have found is that if you are truly innocent, you can never get paroled unless you admit you're guilty and say you're sorry for it.
Problem with ours.
And that's horrible.
Yeah.
Because people that are innocent and cannot bear to say they're guilty, even to get out of prison, they're suffering for their innocence.
I know.
Yeah.
And yet guilty people get out on a whim.
I know, that's the most stupid thing I
It
ever
is. It's
hear
horrible.
in my life. It's horrible because you have to say, I'm sorry for what I didn't do.
Yeah.
Is that what you got to say?
Yeah. Well, you can't stick in the word didn't do. You have to say you did it. You have to admit. If you don't admit it up front and say it all while you're in, why would you then throw your life as if it didn't matter to the wind?
And you have to do that all the time?
Yeah. As far as I know.
Even
It
if you
protects the guilty prosecutor that got you
Exactly.
convicted to start with.
I know,
When
but
you
what
have to
about
say you were guilty, then you
what
can't
about
sue him.
what about if they give you 10 years, for example?
Yeah.
You do your 10 years, you cannot get out.
Oh no, that's doing your time. This is if you're going to go up for
parole or
Yeah.
probation or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, early release. I don't think they'll ever let you out unless you admit that you.
Well, you know, today they have new things going on where they're giving prisoners early release to try to weed out some of the prisoners.
Like if you're going to vote for Democrats, they let you out right now.
You want to
Well, I'm just saying there is some of that going on, and I don't know if that is considered an early release parole or just I'm
It's
cutting
an
your
election
sentence
release.
down.
They call it election release.
You know, so I can't
Democratic release.
I can't answer that. Clark is trying to answer for me, but it's not my answer because I don't know.
No, I know the release. It's called a Democratic release. 62% of the released felons vote Democrat, and only 10% vote.
So let me ask you something. Those governors from Illinois, all three of them are right now in prison.
Yeah.
Are they Democrats?
For the most part, yeah. Well, where are they from? They're from Chicago. Of course, they're Democrats.
Okay.
Of course, they're Democrats.
You know, so anyway.
Bogdanovich or whatever. No. What was his name? The guy, that young.
From Ohio?
No, from Chicago.
Oh, I
I
don't
think
know.
the last one they gave.
Oh,
was
yes.
Bogdanovich
Oh, yeah.
or
He
whatever.
was a Democrat.
Sure, they all are from Chicago. You
They
wouldn't be in
all three of
office.
them are in the same prison. You know.
Yep, that's our government. That's why the thing that you published the other day in the newspaper, that red map of the United States, that's corruption. It's all over, except 4 states got a good grade, a D. That's a good grade,
Really?
D.
Oh. Okay. Well, why not?
He must have known he was coming on. He always goes in there just before showtime.
Now, guys, don't
We're just
both on the naughty
observers. We're
list.
just
Anyway,
observers.
let me. Is there anything? Do you need?
What?
you like to say, Madam, it's Friday. It's the last day of the week.
It is Friday,
And,
that's for sure. I'll vouch for that.
It is? You
Yes,
vouch for that?
it's absolutely
okay.
Friday.
I'm not lying, right?
No.
This is your first day at work, and now you're off. What a great job! How do you get a job like that?
No, that's not true. That's not true. She work
That's
in
true.
the, she
I'm
work
just
in the
kidding.
weekends
I'm
and she
just
work
kidding.
on Monday and
She
Tuesday.
works all the time.
This young lady on Tuesday night, sometimes she go to bed at 2:00 in the morning.
Or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
3 or
sometimes
4.
not,
You
right.
know, sometimes when I get up,
The
she's
sun's
still up.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I,
you know, what I do about work is you work until the job's done. It doesn't matter if you finish early or late, you work until the job's done.
I tell you, I'm very lucky to have people like her and people like Don Snook. They are, without them, the paper will not come out. Because I'm always late with my column, always late with a last minute.
Well, we do the best we can. We try to put the word out, but people get stuck in habits, wouldn't you think? I mean, not that you intend to always be late,
No.
but if that seems to be the trend,
No, it's not only that.
No.
Like, for example, I will finish on time if I can stay at home or
right?
someplace else beside the office. Last Monday, I got everything in my head to do the front page article, to do the study that I've been doing. Everything was going to be done perfect.
Right.
And somebody came over to see me. Another person called me and kept me on the phone for 20 minutes. You know, Clark took me to lunch. You know,
My fault.
No, that's always a good thing. I know firsthand that Rolando likes to be taken to lunch.
Oh.
Never give up on doing that.
take it for granted? No, I don't like to be taken for
No,
granted.
but you like to be taken for lunch.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
depending who the person is.
Okay.
You know.
I hear you.
You know, I do believe that I don't know why I got the feeling that I can produce better when I'm out of the office.
Well, it's a zoo. That's why. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, we all have good intentions, and then somebody comes to the door. 3
Yeah.
people call you on the phone.
Right.
You've got an emergency you have
can't
to go
stay
out
focused.
and deal with. It's just called life. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
nothing else but life. We all have it.
Like every Monday morning, the first thing I go to do with a computer on Monday morning, was not going to work. I mean, that's Monday morning. That's the thing with my computer. I have a unionized computer.
Why don't
And they-
you?
Oh, it's a union
I
computer.
don't know what it is. I just know every Monday, the first thing I go to do doesn't work.
Well, I'll tell you what you could do. Why don't you reprogram it so that Monday
So they
shows
think
up at
it's Sunday.
Tuesday or something?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try that next
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go.
Something has to change.
Well,
Yes,
kind of like I never have my clocks at the
So
right time.
where is Steve
I'm gonna
Dempsey?
I'm gonna go find him.
He said he got a news that he wants to.
Find him.
Steve wants to do it.
I can find him.
I don't know exactly what he got in mind,
Oh,
but
well, you have to screen. You have to be the screener. You have to check these.
no, I don't believe in screening. I
Agendas.
let everybody talk. Doesn't mean
Oh,
I agree.
okay, well.
It doesn't mean I agree with what they said,
All
but
right, but you have
um,
all these
you know,
listeners out there. They're going to believe everything you say.
I have a guy. Remember that guy that called the other day and talked about the corruption in Metro?
Brian?
It'll just be a minute.
Okay.
Brian,
yeah, he wants to call in on Monday, and he has a guest that he's going to introduce on the air. I told him that I was going to check with you if you don't have any other guests.
that's fine. Like you just got through saying, we hear from everybody.
What's the subject matter with Brian?
He got cases of corruption, and he's been, I think he's suing Metro or.
So you met him over
or
at the courthouse?
No, he called in.
No, he
one
called
time.
in.
Oh, good.
He don't
He was
live.
at the
He don't
Phoenix
live.
airport.
He don't live in Las Vegas anymore.
No.
I see.
You know, but I offer him a radio show, but I don't know if we can do a radio show every day from a telephone line. You know,
Well,
but
how do we find out if we can? Let's find out.
I don't know. That's up to
Well,
Clark.
it's a matter of what kind of catering do we do to do this?
Catering?
Catering,
Why do you-
because somebody has to be here to get this guy
Yeah.
to allow him to come in or call in on the phone. We have to be here.
Like the other
radio
day, I
station's
wanted
here.
to do my show from home.
But there was no Clark here?
It was no Clark.
No, Clark. We were Clarkless?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
So you
What
know,
day was that? The day after Thanksgiving.
What day
I think
was it?
Oh, it was
The day-
Family Day.
The day after Thanksgiving.
Family Day.
That was
No,
Ron
Thanksgiving is Family Day. Thanksgiving is Family
I was
Day.
told Ron
The day
Williams-
after is not
No,
Thanksgiving.
officially, that's what they call it. Don't you know that? They
No,
call
I
it
don't.
that.
Friday. Is that why they call it Black Friday too?
No, Black
'Cause it's
Friday
Family Day?
is for shopping.
It's because
The
Black
sheep in
Friday
the family.
matters.
The black
Let
sheep
let
in the
me.
family. Oh.
No, they refer to it
Just
as
trying to get the
Family
language.
Day because it's a semi-holiday. You know, when you're on the bus line and they announce, you know, there's going to be a change in the bus schedule for a holiday, and then if there's a day that follows the holiday, which also has a bus schedule change, they have to give it a name. So the day after Thanksgiving is called Family Day, and it has a different bus schedule.
What about the day after Christmas?
I don't
But
know.
anyway, we are. We have Steve Dempsey, Captain Truth over here, for the last 5 minutes of the radio show, and he has some news that he wants to. He had take that one, madam, is in case you want to open your. In case you want to open your mouth, yeah.
Thank you.
Breaking news, breaking news.
Okay.
My name is Stephen, Captain Truth Dempsey. For those of you who aren't aware of it, that my show follows this esteemed gentleman here, Mr. Orlando. And thank you for giving me this time to explain my take on things, what we're facing. Folks, if you haven't heard my show, it's actually pretty simple. You're in a spiritual war, whether you want to be in it or not, and you got to do your best, because I don't think we're winning right now. And one of the reasons that we aren't winning, as far as I'm concerned, is our lack of knowledge about what should be a upper level master's course in college. And I'm speaking about false flag operations. I don't know if any of you woke up this morning saying, wow, I wonder what a false flag operation is. I better tune in Radio Tribune. Well, if you went through that, I'm glad you did, because I'm glad you tuned in. That's what we're going to be discussing. If you have any take on that, a false flag operation, what it is, what it entails, who does it, why they do it, how you defense it. If you're in a war and your opponent's running a false flag operation, it might be important if you learn what it was about, where to go with it, how to do it, how to diffuse it, and how to point it out to your fellow patriot.
So
countrymen.
can you give us a little hint of how to do it and how not to do it? If we are in a war,
We are definitely in a war.
we want to
We're
win.
in an information war. And the people that are in it for control of your mind.
Well,
These
I'm
people
glad,
are absolute masters. They've
I'm
been
glad.
studying for a long time.
I'm glad you do that, because I just wrote that. I don't know who did it, but the editorial of the Las Vegas Tribune was
You
about
mentioned that.
Don't use the information you get from the mainstream media, because they're not going to tell you what you need to know.
Wait a
You
second.
know.
Wait a second, Orlando. The mainstream? You mean the lame stream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's the
know,
one.
it's very important that people get familiar with the social media, and there is a humongous information out there that people can get, and then they can make their own decision, and they can make their own mind of what they hear, and maybe some of the information can give you the light for you to see different than it was.
Very good. Some of the information will allow you to the discernment to ask a probing question, and you might even not even understood the question immediately.
Let me tell you, when the Binion case was dealing in the courtrooms, I was the only newspaper. Well, I'm not a newspaper, but Las Vegas Tribune was the only newspaper. Then it was, under the impression then those two people that was accused of murdering him were innocent, and after many weeks after I keep writing and putting the other side of the story, a lot of people told me, I believe they were guilty, but after reading your stories, I agree with you. They were not. They know he was a junkie. He died because he got an overdose.
Oh, no,
Well-
come on now.
well-
Jan Jones testified that he was a very experienced junkie.
Oh, that's what you said?
Oh, okay. But let's take advantage of Captain Truth's being here and have him answer the question you posed, Rolando. A, to define what a false flag is, and then second, what we can do about it.
Okay, we got 1 minute for that.
Okay, a false flag operation is when you're being played for a dupe. People are trying to give you a set of facts and trying to lead you to the wrong conclusion. What can you do about it? You can learn to ask questions. You can do more research. You just made reference to that, Rolando. If you just pay attention to what the lamestream media says, you'll believe that Sandy Hook, a lot of children and teachers were killed there. But if you get into the investigation some, you'll find one little boy that was killed at Sandy Hook, and then he was killed over in Afghanistan. Same picture, same little kid. Obviously his parents weren't taking care of him very well. And there's a long story behind all that. It's available at sandyhookjustice.com. It's a retired highway patrolman from Florida who thought he was retired. We got a lot of people coming out of retirement because they see that their country's in trouble. Trump is one of them, as far as I'm concerned. He'd rather be doing something else.
Well, what exactly can you do? Can anybody do?
Elect Trump.
Yeah, elect Trump.
That's probably a good start.
Well, that's a one-day deal. One day you go in and you vote.
And
No,
then-
he's going to be there 4
I'm
years.
talking about people. What can they do?
Well, certainly you can do when I get in here, when my show starts, I'll be going to the two websites that popped up immediately. All I did was do a search on Start Page. I put false flag operation or false flag information. And you'll see, I didn't even know it. I knew there was one recently. I heard about it last night on a segment of Joyce Riley's show by a doctor. I have done no investigation of this. It looks like the Paris, France operation was a false flag operation. That means it wasn't what it appears to be. The people in charge are trying to manipulate your thoughts on what you're supposed to see. And what can you do about it? You can question it. Question it the first day you hear it. Question it the second day you hear it. I noticed one of the websites that I'll be talking about tells you how to identify false flag operations, how they have similar characteristics, kind of like the guy that shot John Kennedy. He was on a military drill, and all of a sudden, people are trying to kill him. Well, people did kill him, but he didn't know it. But before he got killed, he killed Kennedy.
Well, we got 71 hours to do that. So before we finish Face the Tribune, I think we need to keep in mind that maybe electing Donald Trump, it would be a one-day operation, but that would be an 8 years of relief through this country.
We're marching
and
for the cliff, and that'll turn us around and get us going in the right direction. That one day,
build America back.
we'll start making America great
So
again.
I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much for accompanying me and Maramis and Clark and Steve. Have a nice weekend. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you.
We went 3 minutes over, but.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
well, maybe it's
No,
because.
where you going? You can't.
I gotta get my computer.
Oh,